Hey guys, what's going on? Me, Son here. Today I'm going to start a new series. I'm going to be talking about the 1995 classic Neon Genesis Evangelion, created by Hideki Anno, also written and directed by Hideki Anno as well, which was his third series. Well, second, he had an OVA with Gunbuster, and he had his first series, which I haven't seen yet, called Nadia Secret of the Blue Water. I believe that's what it's called. I heard it was pretty interesting. And then Neon Genesis Evangelion. So I'm going to be doing this series mainly kind of go into the psychological and philosophical themes in Neon Genesis Evangelion. Really tackles, and it tackles at an extremely well level, and also the mental illness aspects of the show as well. Now, so this is how I kind of got into Evangelion. It was about a year and a half ago. I was at a party and talking to a friend of mine. He mentioned Neon Genesis Evangelion, and I said I never really saw it. And he was just surprised. He was surprised. That was at that point I was really getting into more different anime shows and movies. I had seen, oh man, I hadn't seen that many. Honestly, I'd seen like Attack on Titan, Full Metal Alchemist, Brotherhood, Psychopaths, Monster, Sword Art Online, stuff of that nature. Hellsing, that vampire one. I don't even think I had seen like Fate Zero yet, and people were talking up Evangelion like it was a really big deal. So obviously, I drifted towards it. I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. So I watched it early last year, and my expectations were actually pretty high going in because I went on to the Wikipedia page and I read about it. I was like, this sounds really, really interesting. I didn't care for the robot aspect. I'm just really not into mechas like that. I mean, I've seen this, which isn't really a mecha show in my opinion. Fully Cooley, which isn't really a mecha show. Code Geass, which is more drama with mecha. And the real only I've also seen Escaflowne, which is a mecha show. And I've also seen Fully. No, I'm sorry I mentioned that. I've also seen Gurren Lagann, which is a very, very true mecha show. But I'm not related to the robots like that. But I love the psychological aspects of it. I loved how the fact that Hideki Anno created this after a 4-year depression over the fact that his previous show, Nadia, didn't really end in the way that he wanted it to end. So I always thought that was really interesting, and as someone who writes and acts and creates, it just seemed very interesting because people were saying how this is just himself. He was just being himself. At that particular point, I was really looking into self-expression and whatnot, and being able to really kind of express myself through my art. So I was excited to watch it nonetheless. Well, anyway, I watched the first 26 episodes, then eventually the movies. I watched the rebuilds first by accident. I wish I had done that. It still worked out. I watched the rebuilds, then I watched End of Evangelion, and I was very impressed. It's my favorite anime now, for real. It was a great experience. And the biggest things that really made me impressed were that it's a legitimate Freudian piece of work, and Jungian too as well, and with hints of Schopenhauer here and there. Freudian it's pretty obvious why it's Freudian. You got the Oedipus complex that Shinji has, and the Electra complex that Misato has, and the whole hedgehog dilemma deal where basically people want to get close to each other, but because they hurt one another, they kind of have to be close to each other at a distance, and how that's tackled. And the whole Union thing about the shadow, and it's cool that Arnold really discussed in detail how he kind of purposely put that all into the series, and that who was it that I believe he said, I believe he called Ray was more or less more. I think Ray was his own shadow, or Ray was like Ray was like Shinji's shadow, and it was really interesting how he adopted it, and you can see as the show goes on, the halfway point, that these characters are getting psychoanalyzed basically, and how shit goes down. But I'll get into more of that later. But I love the psychological themes that the show kind of went into, as far as basically our it's like a mental illness is a big part of the show. You got Shinji, who clearly has stuff like avoidant personality disorder, antisocial disorder. Those are the two biggest deals. He's a cocktail of a lot of things. Honestly, he's a very, very, very. It's an interesting. That's what makes him such a great character. He's really a cocktail of a lot of things. Now people kind of hate on Shinji, I feel, because they kind of write him off as weak. But I never saw him as a weak character. I always saw him as someone who was a very realistic character for someone who was 14 years old, put in that situation. I mean, I felt that he acted the way he or anyone really would act. I think that's why people kind of back away from that character because it's too real for them. Okay, same thing with Subaru from ReZero, and I'm actually going to do a video probably on just weak characters and why people kind of seem to back away from them. And I've seen this in myself as well, not to the extent that some people do, because I think Shinji's a very well-written character. And I will make a video about him and Asuka for that matter. Asuka's another very well-written character. She clearly has borderline personality disorder, and Rei was Arnold said she's schizophrenic. And Misato, Misato is hard. I would say Misato might be a coward dependent. I would say that. Yes, I would say, because she wants to be close to other people. At the same time, she kind of doesn't want to be close to anyone as well. And she kind of only, her way to connect seems to be sex. That's the only way it seems to be her way to be connecting to other people, which is another interesting, like, Ava really continues how human these characters were. These are some of the most realist characters I've seen in any medium, not just anime, just in any medium. Where most movies take forever to even flesh out a single character, Evangelion's got several characters flesh out. Shinji, Asuka, Rei, Misato, Kaji, Gendo, Karu, even his short appearance, you could get a lot about him. He was very interesting. That's like 7 characters right there. It was very, very well done as far as being able to really get into these characters' heads and see who they were and really start to follow them and understand them and be invested with them, and you could really relate to the characters. And Evangelion is probably the only thing I could think of where I probably was, honestly not. I was going to say Breaking Bad as far as being sympathetic to the characters, and I was very sympathetic to those characters. But Evangelion is probably the show where I was the most sympathetic to any of the characters in the series. It was just very easy to really feel what they were feeling, because basically all these characters were trying to fight off these, I like to call ineffective desires. Shinji's desire was for feminine validation, to be touched, and just touch, and to get the love of his father. Misato is a very complex character, actually, as far as what she really wanted. I would say she just wanted someone to accept her or understand her. Asuka wanted to be loved. Rei just didn't want to know who she was. Gendo wanted love as well. And all these characters really trying to go against that, or find it in a way that's actually pretty fucking unhealthy, which is what a lot of people tend to do. And it can come off, honestly, I really don't particularly care about stuff like that. For me, I like watching stuff where the characters are going more higher conscious ones. But with Evangelion, it's pulled off so well because it seems very realistic how these guys are going after it. They're not just kind of people that are just, this is what I want, it's really what I want. They're conflicted about it. They know that, or at least they think that it's just something that they shouldn't be going after. But at the same time, it's really what they just have these splits. And it's really it's basically the thing where they think they know what they want, but in reality, this is what they want, and it's underneath that. And Arnold does a fantastic job of being able to display that to a T, and that's one of the reasons why I love this show. And I mentioned this, and the philosophical aspects of the show is very, very interesting, kind of deep to go into. You obviously have the whole Schopenhauer things where you got symbolism going on strong in the show, will, and how basically it's hard to explain. I'm going to really go more into that a little later, but it's just really cool how Arnold combined all these different aspects. Psychology, philosophy, mecha, mental illness, which is a part of psychology, pure drama, very dramatic show, well acted, very theatrical, very interesting. And he was able to combine this all together and was able to make something that was so intriguing. And that's what really caught me with Evangelion, was that I could relate to it on so many levels. I could get into it on the psychological level. I can get into it just on a pure emotional level. I can get into it on an entertainment level. It was very entertaining to watch. Philosophical level, I can easily get into it. Focus on the characters, I can get into it. On the director level, it was very well directed. On a writing level, it was pretty well written. Some people can kind of find criticisms about it, but for what he was going for, he did a great job. He tried his best, and he was ambitious, and I can't fault him for that. There's so many different things in different ways you can get into Evangelion, and for me, I can appreciate that on so many levels, which makes it one of my favorite works of art. So, check out for the next video. It'll be coming out in a couple of days in this series. I'm going to probably go into the characters now, or the overall theme first, then I'm going to go into the characters. So, if you like this, comment, subscribe, follow me, and y'all have a good one.